Let's talk now to the Conservative MP, Michael Fabricant, who has supported calls for President Trump to visit the UK. A very good afternoon to you. So what do you make of the President's reason for not coming here? It's a pretty thin reason, isn't it?
Well, whatever reason it is, I think it's unfortunate he's not coming because, you know, he is the head of state of the United Kingdom's greatest and strongest ally. As Nigel Farage said in your clip, we do a lot of business with the United States. The United Kingdom is actually the single largest investor in the United States. And the United States is the single largest investor in the United Kingdom. And, you know, we share, whether we like Donald Trump personally or not, whether we share common language, common heritage, common legal system, and on the whole, a common outlook as well on world affairs.
Look, a majority of people that we have heard from today seem to think actually that the reason that Donald Trump isn't coming is because he's worried about big protests which we think are pretty likely would have happened if he'd arrived next month. But isn't the fact that he's using the location of the embassy, blaming Barack Obama, isn't the fact that he's using all of that as an excuse, a rather worrying commentary on how he sees the relationship? He's been to all the other G8 countries except for the UK. How concerning is that for the British government at this time?
I don't think it is that concerning. You know, we talk at length in the United Kingdom about the special relationship and make out perhaps that it's vulnerable. But in the US, it's a given. I mean, the prime embassy in the world for US diplomats is London. And the links between the US and the UK are unbreakable. But look, it is sad that possibly he feels unsafe or unwelcome to visit London. And you know what gets me is responsible people like the Mayor of London, like the leader of the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, have been calling for protests. And yet when President Xi of China came here with, you know, let's be frank about this, quite questionable human rights issues in China, there were no such calls. And anyway, I think calling for street demonstrations is pretty unprofessional anyway.
Let's talk about those comments reportedly made by Donald Trump in an Oval Office meeting, comments which the United Nations has described as racist. There doesn't seem to have been any substantial comment on those by the UK government as yet. Now, we can all see why the response from Boris Johnson is what it is. Clearly, you know, the UK government has to strike a balance between respecting the office it is that of the President of the United States. That relationship is hugely important. But don't you think the government has a duty to make a detailed comment on those racist remarks?
Well, President Trump has two roles in the United States. He's head of government and head of state. I'm not totally sure of what he did say, and I think it is being contested about precisely what he said. So I think until we know precisely what was said, we shouldn't comment. And, you know, in some ways, it's an internal matter for the United States if indeed he did make those comments. Though I personally, not the British government, I personally would condemn any racist comments. I think whoever makes it, whether it's the head of state of the United States or anyone in the UK.
And you may be interested to hear, Michael Fabricant, that we just had a tweet from Donald Trump saying the language used by me at the meeting was tough, but this was not the language used. So he's denying that he has made these racist comments. Michael Fabricant, thank you very much.
Thank you. And I think it shows how wise we were not to suddenly jump in and condemn him.
Although clearly, you know, we have lots of other people saying that this language was used, but that's another argument, perhaps. Michael Fabricant, MP, thank you very much